got our new turbo exhaust manifold. Look at that. So again, this manifold came from a company called Rev9. It is an eBay, quote unquote, cheap slash high quality cheap exhaust manifold. When it comes to these Supras, you don't got too many options. You got a lot more options, or you got a lot of options, but it either goes from like the price of this, which was like roughly 420 bucks, to Superstore turbo header, which is roughly about 1,000, and then from there on, I mean, you might as well sell the daggone kidney in order to get a manifold for a 2J, especially with inflation and everything. But I figured that we would give this one a shot. It is a twin scroll divided, and then the cool thing I like about this, they got this thing set up where if you want to run like a 50mm single wastegate, you can. We're running a 44, but the kit came with straight up basic, but somewhat cool 3, 4, maybe even a 6-ply, 5-ply exhaust manifold gasket. It came with the same style design for a T4 gasket. It came with an extra little spool piece that we will need and probably need more to configure. So, because we are doing a plumb back with the wastegate back into the downpipe. And then of course you got some cool little studs and some fake washers and nuts. I wanted to add also that the description claims that it's a braze style type of TIG welding. You can tell, like I always say, you can tell they did like a, you can see like the little dimples in the middle of the welds. If this was a continuous weld, you wouldn't see them little dots or dimple in the middle. Again, China, it is a 304 stainless, but as you can tell, it's got some Japanese writing on it. I don't know. And then you can look at the thickness of this joker. They claim it is 3.1 millimeters thick. Yeah, let's see. Ooh, it's a little more than 3.1. It's 3.3. That mug is better than daggone what they said. And then this the wastegate we're using. It's a Tial version, 44, 46 millimeter. And what I was concerned with is how big that daggone outlet is and if it was gonna match up. But we got the spool piece here, and as you can tell, it does, it is big obviously, but I think, as you can tell from the outside, it looks like a daggone perfect fit. I might bevel both edges, and then daggone when it's time to weld it, weld in the root, give it a little bit of a V so it can penetrate more. And then I may go a step further and go in here with a carbide bit and kind of smooth all that out, open it up. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but when we get to that point, we'll figure it out. To be honest with you, overall, it's not too bad of a manifold. The welds do look like they're gonna hold up. The insides are real nice. They did a good job smoothing out all of the ports, but it has been sitting and you can see a little bit of rust. So that kind of, I ain't gonna say it worries me, but that lets me know that no, this is not no high grade stainless. It might got a little bit of something else mixed in it, or it could be the fact that right here where they burned all this stuff into one, it looked like this is the area where it got the most heat. You can see the discoloration of it there. Maybe they didn't clean it as good before they welded it, but I don't think it's gonna be a problem, Jose. I think it's gonna hold up. And then I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do also to make this a little bit better than what it is. One other thing that I want to do is again, I got some stuff or some supplies from our local metal supermarkets. If you ever do this kind of fabrication work or anything of that sort, you need to check them cats out. But I got a piece of solid stainless rod, I don't know what you want to call it, but I got a piece of it. It's fairly thick. It is genuine stainless, made from the USA as far as I'm concerned, and this is already a pre-bent piece. But what I'm gonna do is something like this. I'm probably gonna weld it from on this corner to there, and then do something like this on this side, make it look real nice, make it look real pretty. The purpose being is, if we can stabilize this flange to this flange, it will reduce the chance of any part of this manifold cracking, like around here, any of these welds cracking, or yada yada. I mean, you put a big turbo on something and then you got it kind of hanging off a couple feet or a feet or two from the daggone motor, and then the motor rocks, and then you got vibration, hot and cold, the heating up, the spooling up, the cool down. Once in the blue moon stuff may crack, but I think with this and in my support strategy, Jose, I think you're gonna be good. There is one downfall to this manifold. Don't think it's gonna be a problem, but I don't like it. But at the same time, what do you expect when you're buying a daggone exhaust manifold of this caliper for like 400 bucks? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Check this out. You hear that? These fools welded this mug and then they forgot to face this side. The funny thing about it, when I open it up, I can see it with my naked eye. That's how good I am. And then the same thing on this side. It's flat in the middle 4 runners. And then when you get to the side, there is a little bit of a gap over there. You can't really tell, but I'll do this. See that? And it's on the same thing on this side too. Usually when stuff warps, it warps because this plane is flat, so therefore it's gonna be normal for it to warp on the outsides. But I think I can flatten this out using my belt sander.
I've been trying not to go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna give me. I've been trying not to go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna give me.
When it comes to exhaust manifold bolts, I can't stand when they look like this, all rusty and nasty. This is just a disaster, and this is a setup. This is a setup. You put these mugs in, they're gonna break, they're gonna crack, they're gonna strip, because the threads are all balled up, and then obviously, as you can tell, about every last one of them got the stud stuck on the nut. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the vise, separate each one of these nuts, and I'm gonna polish them puppies up with that brass. I couldn't get all the nuts off of all of these studs, so I think I'm gonna take some of these to the shop and put the torch on it, see if I can heat the stud up enough to take the nut off. And then I may have to also chase a couple of these, not the ones that came off, but like, for example, the ones that didn't come off in the vise and it kind of mauled up the bottom threads. I got some taps and dies that I can clean that up. But now we're ready to install this exhaust manifold. And just like on Adam's car, I'm mostly concerned about these bottom studs. The way that manifold works is it come out and then it goes straight down. And I remember on Adam's car, Adam's Supra, we had to cut quite a few of these. So I'm gonna take the ones that I got with no nuts, I'm gonna thread them in with some NICs on them, and then we're gonna see if we can fit the manifold up. Runner number 5 look like it needs to be shortened about a smidge. I think the hard part is the fact that you're gonna have to pull the manifold out a little bit, get the nuts in there, get them started, and then as you tighten each one of these nuts up on the bottom, you kind of push the exhaust manifold on, if that makes sense. So let's see if we can get one of these seized up nuts off of this stud. Let me show you how I do it. Hit that mug with a little bit of juice, aka WD-40. I don't have my yellow can on me, so I have to use this old school blue one. Turn the gas on, light it up, turn that mug full blast. And what you wanna do is you wanna heat up the stud. So what I'm gonna do is heat up the bottom of the stud, and I'm gonna heat up the top of it. Got my ratchet with leverage, because leverage is always key if you want to take a bolt off without busting up your wrist. And look at that. Joker coming off like a glove, like a dagglim glove. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm probably gonna take my tap and die, and I'm gonna end up chasing the threads that are inside of this. I might even go ahead and chase the nut as well, and then chase this side of the stud. About 45 minutes to an hour later, we got the manifold installed. I will add, Remember I told you that the stud below this 5th runner here, I needed to shorten it. I ended up having to do the same thing with runner number 6. So all of the studs and everything worked except for the 2 under here that I had to shorten a little bit. And then I couldn't get one of the studs off for temporary purposes. I just put a bolt into there. So now we're to the point where I got my studs in, but because this flange was just a smidge warped, my daggone T4 gasket isn't going on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the carbide bit, and I'm just gonna open up this hole and that hole just a smidge so that it can slide down. All right, let's test fit the turbo now. Yeah, look at that. We got another precision product going on the 2J. You wanna know what turbo this is? Is that what you're asking? This one is the Gen 2 6466. This is a ball bearing unit. And it does have a .81 turbine housing. It does have a 3-inch outlet. It is a V-band, which is common on most new turbos. It's an open scroll, but we decided to use a twin scroll manifold because if Jose ever upgrade, more than likely the turbo of choice he gonna upgrade to is gonna be a divided twin scroll. So it's got a serial data plate here. The back housing look good. I like how they did this center section. It's like they got like the fins in there to help kind of with cooling, and then they etched in precision turbo right there. That's pretty nifty. And then of course you see some people wonder what all these little bullets right here are. This is for anti-surge. Make a long story short, if you don't have a blow-off valve and the throttle body closes, all that air rushes back and then it comes out this inlet. With this compression surge housing, it kind of helps save the turbo so that motor don't blow up and the wheels separate and then go throughout the whole motor. But look at that ball bearing. That motor's spinning for a minute. Will you look at that? Man, this joker is finally coming together. We got the cylinder head on, we got the camshafts in, we got the full front end put together, we got our new water pump tensioner, we got the ATI super dampener, we got that flat black sitting on both valve covers, upper and lower intake plenum. We got our radium fuel rail with our spacers for our FIC 1500 injectors. And then of course, we got these dope additions right here, which is the radium push-in style, swivel style, 10 and freaking catch can ventilation setup, precision turbo with our China man daggone exhaust manifold that I think is gonna work because we're gonna end up bracing it from here to here. And this also gives us a good opportunity to see exactly what kind of space we got. It looks like this from here to there is not gonna work because the drain is there, but maybe we can snake it and come around from the back side and go across or something like that. But we definitely got plenty of space here. And it is a good idea of how we're gonna have the downpipe come out. And then let me get the wastegate so we can get an idea of what the wastegate gonna look like. And then the wastegate will probably sit something like that. So we'll have this pipe kind of come off and then maybe wrap the wastegate like so. And then we'll have the downpipe come from here, come across, and then come across his neck somehow. And then of course, this piece is gonna go to the downpipe. That's the outlet of the Tial gate. And I wanna start this episode off with check out this super dope shirt. Boosted Lives Matter. I don't have a clue what it means, but my wife made it for me and it's pretty daggone awesome. And you wanna know what else is awesome? This lettering that looks like it's white actually glows in the dark. Let me know if you want one. So before we start the next chapter of doing all this, we need to kind of somewhat finish up this exhaust manifold. We need to do, actually I take that back. We need to do a few little things before we ready to drop this motor in or before we start putting the clutch portion on. One of the things I wanted to add is that if you remember on Adam's build, there's a port here and then there's a port right there. Those two ports are meant for the oil feed. There's two of them since they used to be twin turbo, now we're single turbo. So one of them we're blocking off, and this is what it looked like. It was a banjo fitting with a crush washer on it. This is a M12 by 1.25 thread pitch. All you need is something about as long as to that shank right there. And then what you wanna do, you wanna keep that crush washer, and that's what you're gonna put into there. So we got this back one blocked off because we're gonna be using this front one. And also, before we drop this in, we need to make sure that everything that we need to get done now, while it's easy to get to, that we can do so. So one of those things is we want to put the drain on the turbo. We want to make sure our lines work. I don't know exactly where this line kit come from, but this is something that you can purchase and you can make yourself. It ain't nothing but a dash, it's either a dash 10 or a dash 12 drain. I think we got just a basic old drain sensor, not sensor, but a drain fitting with all the hardware and the gasket, just probably some old eBay brand. And then we got our feed, we got a couple of vibrant components. This one going in the block for the oil to come out. And then I think this one right here is gonna go into the turbo on the feed. We'll find out. Also went to Ace Hardware this morning and got that spacer for the fuel rail, and it actually worked out exactly perfect. I think it was like a little under $1.50. We got our drain line hooked up. We got the 45 coming right off of the outlet of the turbo oil system. And then we got it snaked around to this fitting that we end up getting. The line sticks out a little far, but not as far as, you know, the radiator hose. I think it's gonna be okay, but the main concern was this gap in between here. So what I did is tighten this up first, move this like I wanted, and then I was able to get a crescent wrench in there and tighten up that fitting. Get the orientation of the compressor housing, and then we also need to take a peek at this. Oh yeah, all it's saying is void in the warranty. So let's see if our other fitting that we got from Vibrant will fit into there. I got the line mocked up, and so far, due to the length and the cosmetic side of everything, right now I'm gonna go with taking this line and going in between the first and second bank, snaking it in between that wide spot, and then having it go up under the manifold and sitting like that. I think I can make a bracket if I wanted to make this kind of suspend right here, but we won't know until we get it in the car. But right now, this is what I'm going with. I'm waiting for some items that Adam will be delivering tomorrow. And the objective for tomorrow is if we can get all the items installed on this motor like we want, then we can go ahead and drop the motor back in. So the few components we're waiting on are some fuel rail components, a couple of gaskets like for the EGR so we can put the intake manifold on. And then also what we're trying to do is we're trying to see if we can put majority of the stuff on and then drop it in. We do got to do the clutch tomorrow, and then we're gonna put the transmission back on. And then we also got to put the exhaust manifold on. Before we put the exhaust manifold on, I want to brace it. If you missed, well, I think I'd already talked about it. I think it's all gonna be on the same episode, but if it's on a different episode, this is the Rev9 Manifold, and it's made out of Chinesium. It was budget friendly, and it's actually halfway decent quality besides both flanges being warped. I resurfaced both flanges. But one of the things I like to do with these cheap manifolds or cheapish style type manifolds, I like to brace it. Again, I got some random stainless solid rod. This is the stuff I use for exhaust hangers. I got this from Metal Supermarket. We got one local to us. And so what I want to do is I want to weld this piece there. And then I got a piece I want to weld over here. If you can join these two together with something pretty sturdy, you reduce the chances of the manifold cracking. 9 times out of 10, you'll get a crack here over here. You'll get a crack right on the top of this. The reason being is you got this turbo sitting on here, and from this angle with the hot and cold, or excuse me, the heating up, spooling up, the blow-offs and all that crap, you end up getting some cracking. So I got these two pieces already cut using my bender that I got from Harbor Freight. I got everything acetoned up. So let's go ahead and see if we can tack some of this stuff up and finish welding it. Yeah, that looks a little more symmetrical. Yeah, take a minute and look over your boy's final product. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the final results. It did get a little hard at the end because I did run out of argon, and a lot of these spots like here and on the back side was hard to get to. So I did have to pull out the BBW, which is a humongous Furic cup from Mr. Furic himself. So now all we gotta do is slap that mug on the belt sander one time, true up everything, and then we can go ahead and install it back on the 2G for the 2J for the last time. I've already flattened that out. That looks good. Next piece is hit this. We got everything installed. So that's where I'm gonna end this video. As you can tell, I had to take the center section front off in order to get to this bolt and that bolt. I decided not to use the studs that came with it because they were coated in the same little gold looking color, and the threads look janky. I don't trust it. I found some grade 8 hardware, and then I found some nuts that look like they came off a Nissan with the washer that came off my old RB, which will help with that side. And then this one here is a lock nut, so we shouldn't have any issues with any of that hardware coming loose. And as you can tell, this brace that I made doesn't look like it's gonna interfere with our V-band and our downpipe when it's time to go ahead and mock that up. So we're gonna conclude this video tomorrow when Adam get here. Like I said, we got a bunch more parts to throw on the build, but until the next time, smash the like button.